Meet Hajime, a high schooler with zero powers, no riz, and absolutely no reason to exist. He's the school's favorite punching bag. Then his whole class gets Isekai'd to save a kingdom full of total creeps. But surprise, Hajime is still a massive loser here too. While his peers get god-tier stats, he gets transmutation, which basically makes him a glorified construction worker moving rocks. During a dungeon field trip, Hajime tries to play hero but fails miserably. He's saved by Amanagawa, who deletes a monster in one shot because, obviously, he's got that main character energy. Daisuke stops by just to trash talk, but he's secretly salty because people actually like the weak kid. Even if he is useless, turns out being a decent person is a foreign concept to Daisuke. He really just doesn't get it. Anyway, the attack uncovers some shiny radiant crystals, and Rogers realizes they've hit the literal jackpot. They're worth a fortune, but finding a cluster this big is suspicious as hell. He tells the squad to back off while he checks if the place is a death trap. Predictably, Daisuke's single brain cell ignores the warnings. He touches the shiny rocks and triggers a trap, teleporting the whole squad into a literal death room. Rogers smells a total wipeout and orders everyone to bolt for the stairs while he and the guards try to play meat shield against the monsters. They try holding the line with a magic barrier, but the monsters treat it like wet tissue paper, nearly collapsing the bridge and everyone on it. If that bridge goes, everyone is a pancake at the bottom of the pit. But Hajime steps up, using his rock-moving powers to keep the bridge intact and slow the beast down. It's a temporary fix, so he tells the others to run while they still can. His classmates clear the gap, but the monster starts chewing through Hajime's stone walls, so Rogers tells the group to fire off spells to cover his retreat. Everyone lets it rip, and Hajime starts his sprint. But right when things look okay, a friendly fire explosion hits Daisuke, sending him off the bridge while everyone watches in horror. Hajime actually survives the plunge, but finds himself in the dungeon's basement. He looks for an exit, but runs into a rabbit. It looks cute, but in this place, looks are deceiving. After seeing it fight, Hajime realizes he's in way over his head. He tries to sneak away, but he's a clumsy mess and alerts the killer bunny to his presence. The rabbit is ready to end him, but it senses something way scarier and decides it's time to leave the area. Bad news for the bunny, a giant bear snacks on it almost instantly, and after finishing its appetizer, the bear looks at Hajime like a main course. He tries to bolt, but the bear literally eats his arm. Hajime crawls away in pure desperation, hitting a dead end with nowhere left to hide from the carnage. In a final act of panic, he digs a hole with his powers and hopes for the best. The bear keeps smashing through his walls, while Hajime frantically plugs the holes like a terrified game of Tetris. He eventually breaks into a side cave, escaping the bear but realizing he's still down one limb and bleeding out. He's starving and broken, knowing his clock is ticking fast. The only reason he's not a corpse yet is a lucky find, a crystal dripping holy water that heals his wounds. But the pain is so intense, he basically prays for the sweet release of death. He starts looking for someone to blame and remembers that accidental blast from earlier. He wonders who would actually want him dead. Then Daisuke's punchable face pops into his head, and it all finally clicks. The guy tried to assassinate him. He remembers Caori's bad vibes from the night before and realizes he probably should have listened to her warnings. No one is coming to save him, and he's stuck wondering why life treats him like a cosmic joke. Kidnapped to another world and then betrayed by his classmates, he's left all alone against a horde of monsters. That's when Hajime snaps, vowing to make it home even if he has to burn the world down. Anyone in his way is getting sent to the Shadow Realm. Survival is the only mission now, and step one is finding something to eat. Time to go hunting. He steps out and baits 2 wolves into a chase. They follow him right into his trap. The wolves charge right into a hole he dug, completely falling for the oldest trick in the book. Then Hajime just pelts them with rocks until they stop moving. It's pretty brutal. It's not a glorious kill, but it puts food on the table. He starts eating, and the meat tastes like absolute garbage. Worse yet, the monster cells start rewriting his DNA, causing a level of pain that would break most people. That's what happens when you eat monster tartar. Hajime collapses, thinking this might be the end of the line. But his body begins to mutate and transform into something new. A normal human would have exploded by now, but the holy water keeps him from meeting his maker during the process. He wakes up feeling surprisingly light and powerful. He checks his reflection in the water. His hair turned white from the stress, making him look like a fantasy protagonist. Plus, he's got glowing red eyes now. He's officially gone full edgy emo. The mutation grants him a new mana skill and some electric powers from the wolves. He's not exactly a master of lightning yet, but it's enough to cook his steak so it isn't raw, which is a huge upgrade considering the alternative was eating raw wolf. The smell is still foul, but at least he's not getting parasites anymore. He discovers he can analyze rocks now and finds some explosive ore that works exactly like gunpowder. He realizes he can craft a real weapon and stop throwing rocks like a caveman. A gun would make life in this hellhole much more manageable. He gets to work using the explosive rocks to build something that packs a real punch. He transmutes a barrel out of the hardest stones he can find. He loads it with custom rounds and uses his lightning to fire them at high velocity. He's essentially created a railgun in the middle of a fantasy dungeon. He decides to name his new toy Donna because it sounds cool. Now he can delete monsters with ease, including that annoying rabbit from earlier. He drags the bunny back to his cave and turns it into dinner. Even cooked, it still tastes like sadness and regret. But eating it boosts his levels and gives him mobility skills, making him fast enough to actually dodge things for once. He's feeling buff, but he still has a score to settle with the bear that snacked on his arm. He heads back to the bear's territory to finish the job. He uses his new speed to close the distance and opens fire while flying through the air. The bear actually counters and smacks him down because it's still a giant bear. But Hajime isn't a complete idiot and came prepared with a backup plan. He chucks a flash grenade at the bear's face, blinding the beast with some classic military tactics. While the bear is stunned, he decides it's time for some payback. He shoots its arm off and bites it to show dominance. He finishes it off by putting a bullet right through its thick skull. After a monster buffet, he's so strong that the local trash mobs don't even give him XP anymore. They aren't a threat, but he's still stuck in this underground maze. He decides to dive deeper into the labyrinth instead of waiting to rot. The place has 100 floors, but there are no signs, so he has no clue how much more of this hell he has to endure. He digs further down and discovers another dark cavern. He turns on his light and finds himself staring directly at a lizard. The sight of it literally makes him freeze in place. He hides and uses a potion to stop himself from turning into a statue. The lizard keeps coming, so he has to improvise something fast. When it climbs over his cover, he blinds it with a well-timed bottle of flash liquid. Now that it's blind, the lizard is basically a sitting duck. Hajime just unloads on it until it's a lizard-flavored puddle. He keeps pushing through the darkness, getting stronger with every weird monster he decides to snack on. Up on the surface, the rest of the class returns to give the king the bad news. Rogers explains that the mission was a total dumpster fire. Because Daisuke couldn't keep his hands to himself, they got warped to the 65th floor. It's a miracle anyone made it back in one piece. But unfortunately, Hajime didn't have any plot armor that day. The news of his death spreads, and the kingdom's PR team starts panicking. The king orders everyone to act like it never happened to keep morale up. Shizuku feels like trash and heads outside to clear her head. She spots Daisuke acting like a guilty kid who just broke a vase and is worried about getting grounded. She remembers how he used to bully Hajime back home because he was jealous of Caori's attention. She briefly wonders if he actually tried to murder him with magic, but then dismisses the thought. I mean, nobody's actually petty enough to murder a classmate over a crush, right? Shizuku checks on Caori, who finally wakes up after being out for nearly a week. 5 days of sleep has her memory looking pretty fuzzy. She just remembers the fight in the labyrinth being a disaster. She asks if Hajime is okay, but Shizuku's silence tells her everything she needs to know. She realizes he didn't make the trip back. She's devastated, refusing to believe her best friend is actually gone for good. Hajime keeps grinding through the levels, totally clueless about where the exit is. He finds a massive door and hopes for some floor markers or signs. He preps some ammo and tries to enter, but the door is locked tight. He tries to blast it open, but the door just shoves him back. Suddenly, 2 statue Cyclopses decide it is finally time to wake up. Anticipating a fight, he headshots the first one, ending its existence instantly. He targets the second, but his bullets just bounce off the skin. This one is using a magic shield to block every single shot. But Hajime has a plan. He unloads until the shield breaks, then blasts the creature's eye into paste. He checks what was so important to guard with these giant monsters. He carves them open and finds some shiny mana stones inside. Turns out these rocks were the actual keys to the big door. He slots them in, revealing a glowing cube in the center of the room. The light fades to reveal a beautiful girl trapped inside the box. This looks like a total trap. So Hajime says my bad and starts to walk away immediately. The girl begs for help, claiming she was wrongly imprisoned for years. But Hajime is not stupid. Normal people do not get sealed in glowing boxes in the basement. He assumes she probably did something terrible to earn that cube. She insists she was betrayed. Betrayal, now he cares. He asks for the story, since this punishment seems a bit overkill. She is a vampire, royalty specifically, whose ministers staged a total coup to steal power. They could not kill her, so they just locked the door forever. Hajime asks what she means by being impossible to actually kill. She regenerates instantly, making her basically immortal to any normal physical damage. Plus, she manipulates mana without even needing fancy magic circles. He sees why they feared her, but he is already emotionally hooked. He decides it is time to set the vampire princess free. He places a hand on the cube and starts to transmute. It is not easy. The old Hajime would have failed, but his new strength shatters it. He asks her name, but she hates the name given to her by those who betrayed her. She asks Hajime to give her a fresh start with a name. He calls her Yue because she reminds him of the moon. Yue loves it and jumps into his arms like a child. But of course, the good vibes do not last very long. Something is definitely about to go wrong. Spikes launch from the dark, leaving Hajime a bloody mess. Yue helps pull the spikes out as they face their first enemy. A massive scorpion monster is standing between them and the final exit. Hajime fires, but the beast's armor is way too thick to pierce. While he is thinking, Yue bites his neck to recharge her mana. It is a shock, but he decides to just trust her. He creates a stone wall for cover against the monster's magic attacks. Yue fires a blue flame that actually cracks the scorpion's hard shell. It does not kill it, but it gives Hajime a real opening. Their tag team attack pierces the shell and ends the beast for good. They celebrate by roasting some nasty scorpion meat over a small fire. Yue explains that vampires were basically genocided 300 years ago. Rebels called Mavericks built this place to hide from the annoying gods. They lost the war and retreated to the bottom floors here. Legend says they are still hiding down at the very end. The goal is finally clear. The Maverick at the bottom is their golden ticket out of here. Using the shell, Hajime builds a heavy anti-tank rifle upgrade for himself. He decides to call it Schlagen. Yue gets curious and asks about his whole tragic Isekai backstory. He tells her everything, and she is genuinely heartbroken for the guy. Knowing he just wants to go home makes her feel sad. Yue has nowhere left to call home in this stupid world. Hajime invites her to join his squad on the journey home. She says yes before he can even finish the entire sentence. Back home, Amanagawa is prepping a new team for a dungeon run. Meanwhile, Hajime and Yue are being chased by infinite robotic dinosaurs. They suspect some parasitic brain is controlling the whole hungry horde. They lose the dinos and start hunting for the boss controlling them. Along the way, Yue helps herself to some more vampire snacks. They find the entrance guarded by dinos, confirming they found it. Inside, spores fill the air and Yue suddenly turns hostile against him. A plant monster uses her as a shield to blast him away. The monster thinks it won when a flower grows on his head. But Hajime's toxic diet made him immune to the flower poison. The flower just dies immediately. But Yue is still stuck as a helpless human shield right now. She tells him to shoot, and he does without even blinking. His total lack of chill makes her absolutely furious at his behavior. They rest by a fire while Hajime eats some dead beasts. Yue says she needs more blood because his is the best. She lunges at him and starts her meal with a thanks. They descend deeper, reaching the big door to the Maverick's room. Behind it is a massive hall full of glowing crystal pillars. When they walk in, a giant summoning circle lights up the room. A massive Hydra emerges, looking like it wants a quick snack. Each of the heads has its own annoying elemental magic power. They keep attacking, but the white head just heals all the damage. Hajime and Yue try to focus fire on the healer head, but the other heads act like a defensive line for the white head. Hajime draws aggro, giving Yue a shot at the healer's face. However, the defensive yellow head blocks her spell like a pro. The black head casts an illusion, making Yue think Hajime abandoned her. Her screams lead Hajime to snap her back into reality quickly. Yue recovers, and Hajime kisses her to show they are in this. Their bond is solid, and they plan a final combo move. Yue blasts it while Hajime fires a light spell that wipes heads. Without the healer, they stand no chance against the celestial fire. Or so they thought before the final boss phase started. A silver head targets Yue, but Hajime jumps in to shield her. His rifle is trashed, and Hajime collapses onto the floor totally out. Yue grabs him and drops a barrier to protect his body. She drags him away and gives him all the holy water. But he is still not waking up from his nap. She grabs his gun and rushes the beast alone like a madwoman. Her cries for Hajime actually work as a great alarm clock. Hajime grabs Yue and pulls her away from the danger zone. He lost an eye, but he feels way stronger than before. To protect her, he lets his rage drive him into battle. They drop the ceiling and trap the Hydra in a cage. The Hydra dies under their power, and they finally rest up. Meanwhile, the surface group keeps moving through the dark dungeon halls. Only Caori can feel that Hajime is still breathing somewhere down there. Hajime wakes up with a strange feeling and a soft hand. Surprise, he is naked in bed with Yue in a forest. He pinches her and shocks her awake to get some answers. Once she sees he is alive, Yue gives him a hug. He remembers how Yue healed him after that insane boss fight. They realize they are in the Maverick's hidden home right now. They get dressed and head toward a mansion under a fake sky. Inside the building, they find a bunch of mysterious locked rooms. On floor 3, they find a room that glows for them. They see Oscar, a skeleton in fancy clothes, looking at a circle. Hajime steps into the circle, and the skeleton shows its past. Oscar was the rebel who built this entire crazy underground labyrinth. Oscar congrats them and reveals he is just a pre-recorded message. Back on floor 65, the class is fighting the bridge monster. They do not panic this time and take their fighting roles. They launch spells and hold the line against the skeleton army. Oscar wraps up his TED talk and says his final goodbyes. He tells Hajime not to be a villain with his new powers. A massive data dump hits Hajime's brain, teaching him ancient creation magic that lets him mod raw materials into legendary gear. He immediately tries to teach Yue how to use it. She learns the theory but fails at the actual crafting part. They spend 2 days looting the mansion for high-tier items. They find a guide to the other labyrinths, which might contain the cheat codes needed to teleport back home. Hajime's awkward soul dies inside when Yue starts dropping the L-word during their cozy shared bath session. He spends his time crafting an edgy arsenal to survive the journey. He builds vehicles, guns, and prosthetic limbs that run on pure magic. After 2 months of prep, he gives Yue a ring to make it official. The duo finally leaves the basement, ready to fight any god that tries to cancel their trip home. The scene cuts to a bunny girl getting bullied by dinosaurs in a gorge. She runs for her life, screaming for a hero to spawn in. Hajime and Yue teleport in out of nowhere, scaring the dinos away. They take a second to flex and celebrate their successful escape. Their romantic moment is ruined by a hyperactive rabbit girl face-planting into the dirt right in front of them. They try to ghost her, but she clings to Hajime like a desperate fan. They ignore her until a giant two-headed freak blocks their path. Hajime one-taps it, leaving the bunny girl completely starstruck. She introduces herself as she, a local based folk with major family issues. She begs for help before her whole tribe gets completely wiped out. After she refuses to take no for an answer, they finally cave in. But she insults Yue's lack of assets and almost gets vaporized for it. She was exiled because having magic is a huge taboo for rabbits. She has future sight, which is how she knew exactly where to find them. She predicted the end of her tribe, so the duo agrees to help. The catch is that she has to be their GPS through the woods. They reach the village just in time to save everyone from flying lizards. She's family lived in isolation just to support her through her exile. Being a mage in a tribe of fighters is apparently a massive crime. They were basically doomed, but Hajime handles their problems like a pro. She tries to join the party, but they reject her instantly. Hajime realizes they are all weak, so he starts a boot camp. She learns to hit hard, then confesses her love to Hajime again. Her tribe returns, now looking like a group of hardcore trained assassins. The bunnies lead the couple to a giant magical tree nearby. A plaque asks for specific symbols to unlock the next secret level. They need markers of regeneration and bonds to open the way. Knowing the requirements, they set out to find the missing pieces. She remembers a bedtime story about a white shadow in the forest. The moral was about meeting special people who would finally accept her. That is why she is so obsessed with tagging along with them. After she passes her training, Hajime finally lets her join the squad. The new trio leaves the village to continue their hunt for dungeons. They start searching the gorge for the entrance to the next trial. She trips onto a symbol, triggering a voice that welcomes them to a fun labyrinth. She's dumb luck manages to find another secret door for the team. They already know this place is going to be full of traps. Walls start shooting spikes, causing She to freak out immediately. The narrator's voice alone is enough to give them a massive headache. From giant boulders to spinning blades and falling buckets, it is a total nightmare, but the trio handles it like a stroll in the park. After a lot of trolling from the dungeon's voice, they reach the start. They run in circles until they find a room full of living armor. The armor attacks them just like a classic horror movie trope. They seem endless, so the trio hops on a platform to escape. They find a giant iron golem with a creepy smiley face. The golem claims to be the creator, even though she is supposedly dead. The voice gets serious and asks Hajime what he is actually doing here. He tells her he is just trying to get home after the god kidnapped him. Hajime asks if the world-hopping magic is hidden somewhere inside this floor. She refuses to answer, so he just starts launching missiles at her face. The boss fight officially begins. The armor is too thick, making the core hard to reach. Her attacks are massive, but they are also very easy to dodge. Hajime drops the golem, allowing Yue to freeze it in place. Hajime drills a metal spike directly into the golem's core. She hammers it down until the armor finally shatters into pieces. As the power fades, she warns Hajime about his dangerous path. She says he will eventually have to kill the gods themselves. She says goodbye and vanishes into the digital ether. They find a tiny golem that acts as a final greeting. She makes a few jokes and teaches them gravity magic. Yue is the only one strong enough to actually use it. She kicks them out of the dungeon and back to the surface. Hajime gives She some mouth-to-mouth to stop her from drowning. She tries to make it a moment, but he just tosses her back. They head to a nearby inn to dry off for the night. The girls fight over Hajime, and She gets shot for being too loud. The guildmaster welcomes the group after hearing about their insane travel feats. He wants to hire them for a very specific shady job. Hajime says no at first, but agrees to hear the terms. They need to keep a low profile to avoid unwanted attention. The mission is to find a missing nobleman's son in the mountains. Hajime asks for status plates and guild support as his payment. The trio heads to the mountains to start their rescue operation. They stop in a village where their old teacher is growing rice. Hajime's group wants a taste of home, so they stop to eat. Everyone back home thinks Hajime is just a memory at this point. But the teacher recognizes his voice and look immediately. He tries to play it off, but she is way too smart. He gives her some vague answers about his vacation in the dungeon. A rude knight interrupts them and starts insulting Hajime's new companions. The knight gets a bullet in the shoulder as a warning shot. A student watches, remembering Hajime as the hero from the bridge. Hajime tells everyone he is officially done with the kingdom's drama. His goals are personal, and no one should try to stop him. Later, he visits his teacher to give her the real scoop privately. He reveals the truth about the world and why he quit. The world was built on endless wars between three major races. The local god is just a puppet master playing with human lives. Liberators tried to stop him, but they were labeled as traitors. These people are the mavericks that everyone is so afraid of. They hid in labyrinths, waiting for a real hero to appear. Hajime admits he does not care about saving the world at all. He just wants the magic required to open a portal back home. His teacher says Caori is still looking for him with hope. That is when he reveals his accident was actually a murder attempt. She is absolutely shocked that a student would do that. The next morning, the teacher and students insist on tagging along. He builds a magic SUV so everyone can ride in style. They head into the mountains to find the missing boy, Will. Hajime uses drones to track down signs of a recent monster battle. They track the human signal deeper into the jagged peaks. They find Will hiding behind a waterfall, looking slightly traumatized but mostly intact. The kid is thrilled to finally be rescued. Will shares his horror story about the recent massacre. His entire squad got deleted by a massive, edgy black dragon. Hajime gives him a motivational speech that's basically a threat to get up. They keep moving under a red moon that looks pretty sus. Suddenly, they hear a noise. The black dragon shows up and starts treating the group like a shooting range. It breathes fire, pinning Hajime down while he plays human shield for the students. Yue decides she's had enough and drops a magical nuke on the lizard. She tries to swing her hammer but misses the mark. Hajime tells Yue to guard the weaklings so he can focus on hunting. The dragon targets Will, but Hajime forces it to pay attention to him instead. Hajime starts flexing his entire arsenal and absolutely clowns on the beast. The dragon crashes, and Hajime preps a massive spike to finish the job for good. The dragon tries to bolt, but she bonks it back to the ground. Hajime knows dragons have one specific weak spot where the scales don't grow. It's the rear. Hajime shoves a giant rod where the sun doesn't shine, causing some very feminine screams. The dragon claims she's actually royalty and begs him to remove the obstruction. Hajime doesn't care about her feelings and demands some straight answers first. She explains she was just traveling when a creepy guy mind-controlled her. Some dude in a black robe forced her to go on a killing spree. Yue asks Hajime to have some mercy since it wasn't her fault. The dragoness begs for her life, claiming she'll die if she transforms now. He pulls the stake, and she turns into a woman with a very questionable personality. She's Claris, a dragonkin who seems to enjoy the pain way too much. She warns them that a massive monster army is currently marching on the city. Hajime's drones confirm there's a total mess heading their way. 60,000 enemies are arriving in roughly 48 hours. Hajime's only mission is the kid, so he plans to just ignore the apocalypse. He figures it's not his problem to solve. He heads back to the city with a new masochistic dragon tagging along. She's officially part of the weird traveling circus now. Eiko begs him to play hero and save the city from total annihilation. He can't say no to her, so he starts prepping for a bloodbath. They build walls and evacuate the civilians while the fighters get some rest. Night falls while Hajime gives his gun a quick cleaning. Yuka thanks him for saving her life back when everything went south. He plays it cool and gives her a tiny bit of hope. Claris shows up to be annoying and asks about his future plans. She wants to know if she can follow him around like a lost puppy. He says no, but she takes the rejection as a total turn-on. There is absolutely no escaping her at this point. The locals don't trust him, so they keep him off the leaderboard. He gives a speech anyway, calling Eiko a literal goddess to hype the crowd. It works like a charm. He makes sure she gets all the credit while he does the dirty work. The group starts a long-range spam session from the top of the walls. Claris goes all out but drains her battery and needs a quick nap. Hajime and she charge the front lines while Yue covers their six. They hunt the leaders to break the monster's mind control connection. The plan is a success and the army starts to fall apart. Hajime captures the man in the robe and drags him back. Eiko realizes the villain is actually a missing student named Shimizu. He sold his soul to demons just to get a chance at Eiko's head. She tries to be nice, but he grabs her as a hostage like a coward. She sees the future and blocks a bullet meant for the both of them. The bullet grazes she, but hits the traitor right in the gut. Hajime heals the girls before walking over to finish the trash. Eiko begs him to show some mercy to her student. Hajime realizes the guy is too far gone and ends his subscription to life. He shoots him point blank, which leaves Eiko completely heartbroken. She asks why he did it, and he says he's just deleting enemies. The guy was never going to change. They finish the mission and drop the kid off. The girls realize Hajime only did it so Eiko wouldn't have to watch him rot. She's kind, but eventually she'll see he did her a favor. They get their rewards at the guild, including a new status plate. Hajime spots someone stalking them in the shadows later that night. He isn't worried because he's ready to fight God if necessary. He remembers his dad's words about someone finally freeing the world. That destiny is exactly what led Claris to find him in the first place. She followed the call of fate right to the edgy teenager's doorstep. Hajime and she go on a date to a local aquarium. They find a familiar fish that got kicked out of the labyrinth. They decide to break it out of its glass prison discreetly. The fish tells them about some slavers holding a little mermaid girl. He warns she to watch her back before swimming away into freedom. Yue and Clarice are busy spending all of Hajim's money. Hajime senses a small presence hiding down in the sewers. It feels like a weak child, so they go down to investigate. They find a mermaid girl who looks like she's had a rough day. She was grabbed by smugglers to be sold to some rich creeps. The bad guys realize she's gone and start flipping the city. Hajime and she give her a bath and some actual food. They try to leave her with the guards, but she starts crying. She clearly wants to stay with the scary man who saved her. Suddenly, the guard post goes up in a massive cloud of smoke. Hajime finds the guards dead and a threatening note on the wall. The slavers want a trade, so Hajime decides it's time for some pest control. The squad starts hunting the slavers, hideouts all across the city. They split up and start deleting every gang member they can find. The auction starts with the mermaid girl as the main event. Hajime walks in and puts 3 bullets in the host's skull. He takes the girl to watch the fireworks while the girls finish the job. The hideout is basically a graveyard by the time they're done. He picks her up and she calls him Daddy, which is just great. This show is absolutely unhinged and he's here for it. The squad rolls into the desert town of Horo, the same place Hajime's life turned into a dumpster fire. 4 months ago, he was just another face in the crowd here before the dungeon decided to eat him. While they're chatting with the local guild boss, some guy busts in to scream about a demon sighting in the basement. Hajime spots Endo, his old classmate who's usually about as memorable as a loading screen. The kid begs Hajime to save the rest of the class before they all get turned into monster snacks. Apparently on floor 90, the heroes found 0 monsters but plenty of fresh blood on the walls. A red-haired demon lady steps out and offers them a job, but they aren't looking for a career change. They reject the offer, so she sends a literal army of freaks to show them some hospitality. She summons a chimera, an ogre, and a giant magic casting turtle because why not? The squad fights back, but the demon keeps hitting the respawn button on her monsters, making it a losing battle. The guy in charge of the magic shields gets a sword through the gut, which is bad for business. Shizuku tells Endo to use his invisibility to ghost the scene and get some actual help from the surface. Endo manages to bolt, barely outrunning a chimera that really wanted to eat him, before reaching the surface to scream for backup. Back in the present, Endo is literally on his knees begging Hajime to help the people who treated him like dirt. Even with his trauma, Hajime considers it. Meanwhile, Kuki and the heroes are busy running for their lives from the demon's pets. Panic starts setting in, and Daisuke is already looking for a way to sell out his friends to survive. Captain Rogers tries to play hero, but gets taken down by the chimera before he can do anything cool. Watching the captain die makes Kuki go full anime protagonist, slicing through monsters like he's on a deadline. But then he hesitates because the demon looks human, and having a moral compass in a dungeon is a great way to get killed. The monsters take the opening and trash him, while Shizuku tries to cover for his lack of focus. Caori tries to heal her, but she's running on empty and realizes they're about to be a tragic footnote in history. As 2 giant minotaurs prepare to turn them into pancakes, all hope seems to have officially left the building. But then Hajime drops a massive metal middle finger through the ceiling, impaling the monsters instantly. The dust clears to reveal the man of the hour. Hajime stands there, looking edgy as hell, and deletes another monster with a single bullet. The rest of the squad arrives after taking the shortcut through the floor. They literally just jump down a hole because walking is for losers. Caori looks at her savior and recognizes Hajime, even though he had a major glow-up since he died. The rest of the class is shocked that the loser is now the strongest guy in the room. Yue, she, and the rest of the traveling circus show up just as the monsters regroup for another round. Hajime tells the girls to play nurse with the classmates while he handles the heavy lifting alone. He starts dual-wielding his revolvers, turning the monster horde into a collection of Swiss cheese. Caori watches in pure awe as the guy she liked turns into a one-man army without breaking a sweat. The turtle fires a laser, but Hajime just parries it back at the demon, destroying her favorite pet in the process. The girls keep the injured safe, while the demon lady tries one last desperate move to save her career. She casts a spell called Total Imprisonment, which sounds like a really bad prison sentence. It swallows up everything in sight. Mayu cheers for her daddy, which makes Kaori's brain short-circuit for a second. The demon tries to run, but Hajime isn't done with her and demands some answers before he kills her. He puts 2 bullets in her leg to keep her from wandering off, which really upsets his sensitive former classmate. He figures out she's using ancient magic and decides, she's officially outlived her usefulness to the plot. He preps to pull the trigger and end her existence. She screams about her boyfriend coming for revenge, which is a classic villain trope. Kuki starts a moral debate, but Hajime just cancels the demon's subscription to existence right then and there. Daisuke sees the ice cold kill and starts having a total mental breakdown. They prop up the captain's corpse while the survivors try to process the fact they were saved by a heretic. Caori starts sobbing on Hajime, which is her way of saying she's still very much obsessed with him. Yue and she look like they're ready to commit another murder, while Kuki argues about the rights of demons. Hajime makes it clear that he's done with the class and will delete anyone who stands in his way. He says he only saved them because he owed Caori a favor, and now they're even for life. They get back to the surface, and Caori confesses her love and her plan to join his edgy traveling circus. He rejects her immediately, stating Yue is his only one, but Caori is a persistent stalker and won't take no for an answer. Yue actually lets her join, just to prove that her bond with Hajime is way stronger than some old-school crush. Caori is officially on the team, and she's ready to fight for her man. Hajime tells the girls to pack their bags because they're leaving the very next morning. Caori says a quick bye to Shizuku before leaving her boring life behind for good. Hajime transmutes a jeep out of nowhere, which is basically a chick magnet on wheels in this world. The squad rolls out to find a way home, and they're ready to run over any god that gets in the way. While driving through the sand, they get jumped by a giant worm, but Hajime drives like he's in a Fast and Furious movie. The worm is persistent, which is a major inconvenience for their road trip. He decides to use his anti-tank missiles to turn the giant worm into a pile of ground beef. With the road cleared, they keep driving until they spot more worms surrounding a guy in the dirt. Hajime is curious, which usually means someone is about to get shot. He hops on the mounted machine gun and clears out the worms like he's playing an arcade game. The path is clear, and they find a dude who looks like he's having the worst day ever. Hajime doesn't care, but Caori has that priestess complex and insists on being a good Samaritan. He wonders how this guy survived in the desert without becoming a snack for the local wildlife. Caori checks him out and realizes he's suffering from mana overload, which is basically magical food poisoning. His mana is going crazy, and if they don't fix it, he's going to go out with a very literal bang. She drains some of his power to keep him from exploding in the back of the Jeep. It's just a temporary fix, but it keeps him alive long enough to talk. The guy wakes up and says he's the son of a duke, which usually means a quest is coming. Turns out he's from the town they were heading to, and things are looking pretty grim over there. He explains that the whole town is coming down with a fever and some nasty convulsions. The local water supply was poisoned, and the town is basically dying of thirst and magic poisoning. They haven't figured out who the jerk is that poisoned the well, but they need a cure fast. They need dead stone from the local volcano to stop the mana from killing everyone. The problem is the volcano is a death trap, and all the local fighters are too sick to move. Even if they weren't sick, they'd never make it through the desert without a magic SUV. He went out for help and fainted, but luckily ran into the strongest group of misfits in the world. They roll into town and see it looks like a scene from a disaster movie. People are dropping like flies, so Hajime and the girls get to work playing heroes for a day. Yue creates a well, and Hajime paves it so the water isn't just mud. The Duke is shocked by how fast she can create a lake's worth of water out of thin air. Creating that much water makes Yue hungry, so she gets a quick snack from Hajime's neck. With the thirst issue handled, Hajime goes to check out the poisoned oasis with his special eye. He realizes there's a giant slime monster in the water acting as a biological weapon. He chucks a grenade in to wake the slime up before it can poison anything else. The slime jumps out, and Hajime just puts a bullet through its core to end the problem. The source is dead, but the water is still a toxic mess for the time being. It'll take a while to flush out the system, but Yue's magic water will keep them going for now. Back at the hall, Caori is busy playing doctor, but they still need those stones from the volcano. Hajime heads out to the volcano, leaving Caori behind to babysit Mayu and keep the town alive. They drive into the heat, crossing more worms that really don't know when to quit. They reach the volcano, and the temperature is enough to cook an egg on the Jeep's hood. Clarice is the only one enjoying the heat because she's a dragon and probably a weirdo. They find a few stones on the ceiling, but it's not enough to save a whole town of sick people. They have to go deeper into the mountain if they want the real motherlode of dead stones. They hit the uncharted area, and things immediately start trying to kill them with fire. A lava bull attacks, and she asks to take point so she can test out her new giant hammer. She charges in and absolutely deletes the bull's head with a single massive swing. The hammer turns mana into kinetic energy, making her the most dangerous bunny in existence. They find the Motherlode cave, and it's finally mission accomplished for the town's survival. If they want the good stuff, they're going to have to dive way deeper. They reach the stairs, and from here on out, they're officially off the map. They're in uncharted territory now, so they better stay on high alert for danger. Suddenly, a fire attack comes at the squad, but Yue just blocks it with some magic. Hajime preps to delete the lava bull that jumped them, but she asks to handle the heavy lifting for once. She wants to test out the new custom hammer Hajime built just for her bunny rage. She charges in and absolutely shatters the bull's skull with a single massive swing. The hammer's efficiency is actually a little scary. It turns mana into kinetic force, making her a literal walking wrecking ball. They find a cave packed with dead stones. Finally, they have enough to actually save the sick people in town. So now the real mission is just finishing the big labyrinth inside this volcano, without getting roasted like a marshmallow. They float through lava. After almost becoming barbecue, the group finds a secret island hidden deep inside the mountain. Hajime wants to check it out, but some fire serpents force them to abandon ship immediately. Lava snakes are guarding the place, which is just typical. They have to kill about 100 of them to actually reach the shore. The squad works together to pop every serpent core like they're popping bubble wrap. But right as Hajime finishes, a light beam snipes him. The explosion knocks him out, which is not great timing. He starts falling into the lava, and Yue has to use her magic. She tries holy water, but the healing isn't working fast enough while a rain of explosions falls from the sky. Freddy appears, acting all smug because his ambush worked, though he's annoyed Hajime survived a direct hit from Uranus magic. Hajime wakes up and sees the jerk floating in the air. He starts to realize what happened. Freddy is a god's apostle now, and will do whatever his divine boss tells him to do. Freddy uses spatial magic to walk right behind Hajime and tries to hurl him into the lava pit. The girls are too busy fighting off dragons to help him, so he's on his own. He uses limit break to survive the blast, but Freddy keeps the pressure on like a total tryhard. Hajime summons his drone bits to guard him while he slowly pushes forward for a counter. Suddenly, Clarice shows up in dragon form and smacks Freddy across the sky. She engages his dragon in an aerial dogfight that looks like a high-budget movie. While he's distracted, Hajime kicks Freddy into the distance with everything he has left. He tries to finish the job, but Freddy's dragon swoops in for a quick extraction. Hajime tries to chase them, but his body finally redlines and he starts falling into the magma. Clarice catches him at the very last second before he burns. Freddy is genuinely shook by how powerful Hajime's little squad actually is. He realizes he almost lost to an exhausted kid. He pivots to a more cowardly tactic by messing with the volcano's magma flow. He triggers an eruption to bury Hajime and the entire labyrinth under a few tons of rock. Time is running out, and with Freddy blocking the front door, Hajime gives Clarice his ring and tells her to bolt. He plans to survive, but she's the only one who can escape right now. The town needs those dead stones, and she's the fastest delivery service they have. She understands the assignment and flies out before the exit gets sealed shut. Enemy dragons try to stop her, but Yue and she provide cover fire while the drone bits keep Freddy from interfering with the escape. Meanwhile, back in the kingdom, Liliana tries to talk to her dad, but he looks like he's in a total trance. The guards look like they've been brainwashed too, and everyone just ignores the princess like she's invisible. She knows something is seriously messed up in the castle. She finds Shizuku training hard because she hates being useless. The usual. Shizuku is pushing her limits, but stops to play with a cute cat because she's still human. Liliana catches her being soft, which is a bit embarrassing. They talk about the kingdom officials and what they really plan to do with Amanagawa. It sounds like the higher-ups are planning to frame the hero as a traitor just to maintain control. Meanwhile, Daisuke is having a tantrum in the woods because Hajime isn't dead yet. A girl appears and asks why he's so salty that his murder attempt failed miserably. Daisuke tells her to shut up, but she points out that attempted murder is a bad look for his reputation. She offers to keep her mouth shut if he helps her with a shady plan. She promises he'll get Caori. Clarice finally reaches the town. She's completely spent and collapses at the gate, where Caori finds her in a heap. They treat her and she tells them that Hajime is trapped inside a literal volcano. Caori is scared, but she knows he's too stubborn to die. He survived the fall, but he's in rough shape and needs time to heal. Yaoi notices the poison is fading, so he should be fine soon. They're currently floating in the middle of the ocean for some reason. Hajime remembers finding a hidden door in the volcano that saved them from being incinerated. The room was magma-proof and full of ancient spatial magic. Yaoi can't use the magic yet, so Hajime suggests they just swim through the lava like a bunch of lunatics. He pulls out a submarine he conveniently built for underwater exploring that also happens to be lava-proof. They dive in and get spat out into the ocean, which is a major environmental change. They have no clue where they are because he gave his magic compass to Clarice. Some merfolk show up and accuse them of kidnapping a child. Hajime just punches one. The other guards try to fight, but they get knocked out instantly. Then Hajime sees Mayu jumping from the sky, and he has to catch her before she hits the water. He's happy to see her, but gives her a dad lecture for doing something so dangerous. They head into the city to return the kid to her mother. The mom is relieved her daughter is safe, but very confused that she has a new daddy. In the palace, Shizuku and Eiko talk about the king labeling Hajime as a total heretic. Eiko tried to stop them, but the council looked like they were on some serious mood-altering drugs. With Mayu safe, the squad decides to explore a sunken labyrinth they found in a deep-sea trench. They dive in and find the entrance. They move into a massive cavern to see what kind of treasures are waiting for them at the bottom of the ocean floor. The journey continues into the dark, and they're ready for the next challenge. Your script is complete. They ditch the sub and start wandering through the maze on foot. They eventually hit a massive cavern. The entrance locks, and some forbidden purple sludge starts attacking the group. Yaoi drops a shield, but this slime literally melts magic for a snack. He realizes fire doesn't work because the monster just keeps regenerating from its core. Hajime thinks this thing doesn't even have a magic crystal. He checks the area with his demon eyes. The whole room is glowing, so its entire body is the crystal. He realizes they are basically trapped inside the monster's digestive system. He knows they won't win a fair fight, so he looks to bail. He spots a leak and gets a very destructive idea. He shoots the floor to create a quick underwater exit. Caori realizes she forgot to spec points into her lung capacity underwater. He trusts Yaoi and goes back to save the drowning priestess. Caori wakes up and wonders why he saved her instead of his girl. She probably expected a romantic speech about how much he cares, but the truth is, he knows Yaoi can handle herself. He knew Caori would have been a goner in that soup. They just need to keep walking until they hit the bottom. They stumble upon a shipwreck, and he realizes they are being dragged into a flashback. Caori sees people being deleted and tries to play nurse on a ghost. The man just vanishes right before she can finish the job. Insane soldiers surround them, screaming about God while they try to murder heretics. The area resets, and she wonders what the point of that trauma was. Hajime figures the labyrinth is just playing a very depressing history movie. The thought of a mad god causing this tragedy makes Caori feel sick. He knows what it is like to see something totally horrific. He realizes without Yaoi, he probably would have lost his mind too. Caori gets jealous of the Yaoi talk and asks if she's a burden. He bluntly tells her she is getting in his way. He treated her like trash, hoping she would eventually take the hint. He tells Caori that he is in love with Yaoi. Her heart breaks and she decides she needs a little space. Eiko heads to class but runs into a very suspicious nun. The nun says she is taking Eiko to the mountains. She isn't taking no for an answer from the divine teacher. The nun tries some hypnosis, but Eiko has high resistance. Eiko is immune to magic, but she is not immune to fists. The nun just punches her lights out to end the debate. She drags Eiko away while Liliana watches from the shadows. Liliana realizes she needs to find someone to help before it's too late. Hajime and Caori find a giant ship sitting in a field. They board and a new illusion starts playing for the group. It looks like a normal party at first, which is weird. The king is celebrating peace with the demi-humans over some drinks. Then the king admits he's a bigot and tries to kill them all. Caori feels sick seeing the carnage, but they have to move on. A dark snowstorm hits and a trap separates them in the shipyard. Hajime fights off some soldiers while looking for the lost priestess. He finds her in a dark corner and suspects something is off. He senses a bad vibe and shoots Caori in the face. She screams in pain and asks why he is being so mean. He doesn't hesitate and just shoots her again for good measure. He realizes a ghost is possessing her and the ghost starts laughing. Hajime points his gun again, ready to keep blasting the spirit. The ghost panics because Kaori's body can't take much more lead. He thinks for a second and then just fires some more. He knows the spirit only understands pain, so he keeps it going. He keeps shooting until the ghost decides to leave the chat. The spirit realizes he isn't bluffing and finally gives up the ghost. The ghost vanishes and he checks to see if she's alive. Luckily, she isn't dead yet, though she's probably a bit sore. She wakes up and immediately kisses him, which catches him off guard. He asks what she thinks she is doing right now. She says she is just answering his previous rude question. Caori admits she is in love with him, even with Yue. She is staying by his side, even if it is awkward. They find a magic circle that warps them to the final boss. The rest of the group is already waiting at the goal. Yue starts hacking the circle to see how it works. The students realize Eiko has been missing for 3 whole days. Eiko is being held by a nun who finds her inconvenient. She is going to be a prisoner until the time is right. Liliana is on the run, unsure who to trust in this city. She knows something is wrong, but she is currently all alone. Soldiers are being gathered for a secret plan, and Daisuke is there. The Demon King says God wants them to kill every single heretic. The void is affecting everyone and spreading through the entire army. Rogers wants to find some dark magic experts to fight the void. He preps some letters for Hajime and the Duke, just in case. Daisuke knocks and Rogers draws his sword like he's ready for anything. He lets him in, but Daisuke is acting super suspicious and nervous. Then Jose knocks and tries to stab the captain in the face. Rogers realizes Jose is a puppet and gets ready to rumble. Daisuke stabs him in the back while he isn't looking. Rogers uses some wind magic to blow the traitors away. He smashes Daisuke into a wall to stop his casting. Jose is a bit tougher but still gets thrown into furniture. Jose just stands up because the void doesn't let you stay down. Rogers bails out the window before more puppets show up. He tries to blast the office but gets sniped by an explosion. Hajime finds a caravan being attacked and decides to help them out. He just wanted an excuse to use his minigun on some bandits. Bandits drop like flies once the heavy lead starts flying everywhere. He tells Caori to heal the civilians while he finishes the trash. Liliana runs up and admits she is actually the kingdom's princess. She says her father is acting like a church-obsessed puppet. Eiko was snatched by a nun, so Hajime goes to save her. He just punches 3 holes in the wall and grabs the teacher. The demons start invading right as they are making their escape. He tries to sneak out, but some god's apostle blows everything up. Noint attacks and he barely dodges a sword to the chest. Protecting the teacher puts him at a major tactical disadvantage here. Noint admits he is strong but says he is not pawn-worthy. He doesn't want to be a pawn for a divine brat. The kingdom is burning, but Noint just doesn't care about it. That is God's will, so she's letting it happen. He realizes God treats humans like toys for his own fun. He basically nailed the truth about the demons and the god. The god hates him for being too powerful and overcoming traps. He understands there is no reasoning with this divine trust fund baby. Clarice shows up and blasts the apostle out of the sky. Clarice takes the teacher away while he faces off against Noint. Noint is fast, but he keeps her busy with some crossfire. He notices her swords are starting to take some serious damage. He uses spatial rings to shoot her from angles she can't block. Her swords break and he ties her up with magic rope. He pierces her with a massive anti-tank rod to end it. Eiko accidentally blows up the church with some methane magic. She feels terrible about the body count, but he comforts her. A figure appears and points them toward a final magic circle. They warp into the labyrinth and find some soul manipulation magic. They need to hurry because the capital is currently under siege. Shizuku gets tricked and stabbed by her own personal maid. Iri laughs because she finally has her crush all to herself. She's been reanimating corpses to act like her friends for weeks. Iri tries to kill Shizuku, but Caori shows up to heal. Daisuke stabs Caori in the back while she is saving everyone. Caori finishes the spell before the light fades from her eyes. Hajime appears and punches Daisuke into a very solid brick wall. He tells them to tie Caori's soul to her body quickly. He throws Daisuke out where the hungry demons are currently waiting. Without plot armor, Daisuke is finally a very dead corpse. Frid teleports in, but Hajime vaporizes his whole demon army. The capital is being rebuilt, and Liliana is the new boss. Hajime drops from the sky with a new and improved Caori. He used god-tier magic to put her soul into Noint's body. Caori asked for it so she could actually fight alongside him. He tells them God is just using everyone for some drama. He agrees to take the whole class as future meet shields. Like and subscribe to the channel for the next part soon.